as the Zodiac Killer.
The psychotic killer has already murdered 5.
Exclusive enough to link the murderer of Celia Shepard to other murders in the Vallejo area in the past year.
Anywhere in the Bay Area or anywhere, he should go to the nearest law enforcement agency and turn himself in. And we will try to do whatever we can to help this man.
In the late 1960s and 70s, fear gripped the San Francisco Bay Area. The Zodiac Killer, a cunning and elusive figure, terrorized Northern California with a series of cryptic letters, encrypted codes, and brutal murders. His first confirmed attack was in December of 1968, followed by a string of crimes that would shock the nation. On December 20th, 1968, at Lake Herman Road near Berryessa, California, where 2 teenagers, Betty Lou Jensen and David Faraday, were shot and killed while sitting in a parked car. This event is widely considered as the first officially attributed attack to the Zodiac Killer. The young high school couple were enjoying a date together when suddenly a man parked next to their car and rolled down his window, then ordered them to exit their car. The young couple refused, which then led the unknown assailant to draw a .22 caliber pistol. First, he fired into the rear wheel housing, attempting to scare the couple. As they scrambled to exit the vehicle, the man ran up to the driver's side window, shooting David point blank in his skull. By then, Betty was running off, and the man shot and killed her 5 times in the back. Shortly after, the man drove off in his vehicle. The bodies were found a little after by a woman and were reported to the police. This act of senseless violence marked the beginning of the Zodiac Killer's reign of terror. He struck again half a year later, on the night of July 4th, 1969. The victims were 18-year-old Darlene Farron and 16-year-old Michael Mageau. The couple left their house to get fireworks, but as they left, they immediately noticed they were being followed. They tried to make turns to lose their follower, but it didn't work. So Darlene pulled into the parking lot of Blue Rock Springs Park. The follower had also pulled into the parking lot, parking directly next to her car, then quickly left. 5 minutes later, he returned and pulled up directly behind their car. A man exits the car waving his flashlight. They had thought it was the police, so he reached to grab his wallet. Before he could get it out, the man blinded them with a flashlight, pointing it towards their eyes, then proceeded to shoot more than 7 times at both of them. The bullets had pierced Darlene's heart, killing her. Michael was still alive and let out a painful moan. This caused the man to pause as he walked back. For a split second, Michael could see his face. The man came back and fired 2 more shots. Michael jumped into the back seat in panic. After the last 2 shots, the man drove away. Thankfully, 3 teenagers stumbled onto the scene and reported the police. Michael had survived and later described to the police the man he saw. The weirdest part of all of this is that around 12:40 a.m. on that same night, an unidentified man called the Vallejo Police Department, claiming he was responsible for the Lake Herman murders, as well as reported about the incident of Darlene and Michael.
Vallejo Police Department.
I want to report a double murder.
May I have your
If you
name
go 1
and where
mile
you're calling?
east on Columbus Parkway, public park, you'll find kids in a brown car. They were shot with a 9mm Luger. I also killed those kids last year. Goodbye.
This was the first time the Zodiac Killer contacted the police. He went on to send a letter to various news sources, which were all nearly identical. The letter read, "Dear Editor, this is the murderer of the 2 teenagers last Christmas at Lake Herman and the girl on the 4th of July near the golf course in Vallejo. To prove I killed them, I shall state some facts which only I and the police know." He went on to state some facts proving it was actually him. There were ciphers also included in the letters. He wanted them to be printed out in the paper. The news sources listened and printed them in the paper to be deciphered. It was solved and stated, "I like killing people because it is so much fun. It is more fun than killing wild game in the forest because man is the most dangerous animal of all to kill." He went on to also say, "Something gives me the most thrilling experience. It is even better than getting your rocks off with a girl. The best part is when I die, I will be reborn in paradise and all the I have killed will become my slaves." The Zodiac's next murder was on September 27th, 1969, at Lake Berryessa. The victims were Brian Hartnell and Cecilia Shepard. On that day, Hartnell and Shepard were enjoying a picnic by the lake when they were approached by a man wearing a black hood and a white, homemade executioner-style hood with a cross-like symbol on the chest. The man claimed to be an escaped convict and forced the couple to tie each other up with a plastic clothesline he brought with him. He then proceeded to stab them repeatedly. After the attack, the man left a message on Hartnell's car door, which included dates of his previous crimes. He also drew a crossed circle symbol, which became associated with the Zodiac Killer. Both Hartnell and Shepard survived the initial attack, but Shepard later died from her injuries. The Zodiac Killer later called that same day, just like his last murder, and reported about his crime.
Napa Police Department. I want to report a murder. No, a double murder. They are 2 miles north of parking headquarters. They were in a white Volkswagen Carmen Ghia. I'm the one that did it.
By now, a pattern had formed. He targeted young people all on the weekends. Most of the attacks were in lovers' lanes. Also, a hatred towards women. The last 2 men had survived, but the women did not. The final confirmed murder of the Zodiac was on October 11, 1969. The victim was 29-year-old Paul Stein, a cab driver. It was around 9:30 p.m. when the Zodiac got in the cab. He requested to be taken to Washington and Maple Street, but Stein drove 1 block past the destination. There is speculation this was the Zodiac's request. As the car came to a complete stop, the man grabbed Stein and shot him point blank in the head. After this, the Zodiac took Stein's wallet and a piece of his shirt. While all this happened, 2 teenagers across the street saw the cab from their second-story window and called the police. The most detrimental error was made when the teens described the man to the police. He was mistakenly described as a black male. Later, when the police reached the scene, they saw a man, quote, lumbering along in the fog. This was very likely the Zodiac Killer. But since he was white and described as a black male, the police just asked if he had seen anything. The man responded he had seen a man swinging a gun a couple blocks east. The police left towards the east. If they had just paid attention, they would have noticed his coat covered in blood. There were many suspects, but no one was ever arrested. The Zodiac Killer remains the most infamous serial killer in American history and was never caught.